The saddest part of making these comments, Terry type cast is not the fact that I don't like the topic, because I'm not going to fake that funk. I wouldn't do these if I wasn't interested in the topics I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is, I do a mental health vlog, and these get way more views, way more engagement from people than the actual putting out stuff. So it can be a bit discouraging, but it is what it is. I'm just grateful that people want to hear my old ass opinion on things. And this topic today is not an easy one because, like I said in the mental health vlog that I did about, dealing with an abusive ex, it shows a lot of parallels to my life from 20 years ago that it's painful. And I think that people involved are amazing under normal circumstances, but one of them really show their true colors, and it's a sad tale. And you know, unlike other YouTuber drama, I tend to mind my business, except for that whole creep show art thing, because that was another level of mental health mess that I just couldn't look away from. And this is a personal one, though, for me. The reason I even felt like weighing in on this, because I tend to look at YouTube as just another source of entertainment that I don't give too much weight, is the fact that I was rooting for these two. I really like both of these content creators, and to have this fall happen just hurts. And his responses to everything just, for me, is enough to believe his partner's accusations against him, because the deflection, the blaming their partner for their actions, the taking no accountability, the irritability, the way they have to come across as right no matter what, has been an issue from the get. If I had to be real about the situation, the only reason why I knew who he was because I enjoyed his partner's work and their artistic abilities, and I thought their collabs were cute and all, but I watched for the artist's work. I watched for the artist's viewpoint on certain topics. And when they collabed, it was like, oh, this is a nice couple of kids. They're black. I'm going to support them. But honestly speaking, I wouldn't have watched his stuff without his partner. And the fact of the matter is, his responses to his behavior and the fact that shit changed as he responded because he was coming probably from high emotions is enough for me, as somebody who dealt with an abusive manipulator, to believe that he was the harmful party in this situation. But what also troubled me about his responses is the lean that, they called the cops on a black man. I said it in the mental health vlog, and I wanted to be vague about the situation in that mental health vlog because I was shifting parallels between their story and my own troubling situation with my ex from back in the day. My ex couldn't fall back on the whole, black man lean for our situation because he wasn't. But in this scenario, Homeboy was trying to utilize that viewpoint as a gotcha, because we are in trying times. We are in times where you see men like George Floyd choked out by the police, where you see Ahmaud Arbery being gunned down just jogging in his neighborhood, where police are literally used on black people for just living our best black lives. It can be troubling to have law enforcement invoked on you when you've done nothing wrong. But the difference is, Kai, you cannot claim that. I want people to understand where I'm coming from this, because I know I have the bias of surviving abuse myself. But Amnia put herself out there with even coming forward with this. And it is hard when you have suffered abuse to be forward. But a lot of, especially younger creators, have lived on the internet. So it might be a little bit easier for them to share traumatic stuff. So, but even saying that, it had to be hard for her to reveal not only the pictures, but the build up to this, because she didn't just say that it started with his hands on her. She laid the foundation of him separating her from the people that she loved, causing a rivalry between her and her family that can't be repaired, so that she would have to depend on him. And then these actions happen. There is a fucking pattern there that those of us who have survived abuse could see clearly. And my heart hurts for Omnia right now, because she probably felt so alone, so scared, and so vulnerable, even in a day and age where people do share just about everything online. And I just want her to know that I believe her. I don't. At this point, I know some people want to go, oh, you shouldn't jump the gun about allegations. She put the pictures up there, and his reaction was it was self defense at first, or she got them when she felt. Those marks on her arms, I don't know if you know about bruising or anything, especially on black women's skin, but if you're trying to convince me that those deep finger marks on her arms are from falling, I think you could sell somebody who would believe you're a bridge in Brooklyn, but you're not going to pull that shit on me. And then the marks on her face and stuff. No, no, no. And then just his follow up tweeting, because Homeboy went whole ham on tweeting behind this shit about how he paid for stuff, showing bank statements. Financial manipulation is a big time part of why so many abuse victims feel stuck in a relationship. When your partner makes it feel like, well, I've gotten you this stuff, so you owe me. And that's the vibe Kai gave with his response to this. Linking your expenses when you clearly said you bought that stuff for her and then you took it. So, my man, that's theft. Whether you want to admit that or not, whether you feel that that's a justifiable belief, the moment you give ownership of something to somebody else, it becomes theirs. When you revoke said ownership because you broke up, which you're not supposed to do, that's theft. I was floored by this because I had taken a break from online stuff. I was getting stressed out by Twitter, people fighting back and forth. My mutuals were at each other's throats because we talk a lot of politics and social issues as it is, and tensions are high. We've all been on lockdown for the last 2 years, so pick and fight seems to be like second nature for people online. And I took a break, but I came back because of the whole creep show bullshit. And then I found out about Kai and Omnia, and it broke my heart. When I say I was rooting for these two creators, even though I will admit I lean more heavily towards Omnia's work because I enjoy art, it hurt. And what killed me was the whole lean of this being about his ethnicity, because Omni is black too. She might be biracial, but and I gotta make that caveat. Omnia is, uh, I believe they identify as they, them. So please forgive me if I misgender them. I do not want to do that. The whole ideal, though, that somehow the stuff Kai has done was justified because they had mental health issues was another thing he tweeted out. The whole I took the cat food. Why would you take cat food? Well, I mean, dude, seriously, even in your madness, where you took her drawing tablet, which you knew was part of her livelihood, the other items that you trashed their apartment. She put the pictures up to show that this isn't just, her spouting off stuff. All the stuff that you thought was justified, you took the cat food. Why? And then to fall back on the whole ideal that she called the police on the black man. I I'm saying this as a black woman. I'm tired, y'all. It is hard to navigate, but I'm going to make it clear that it can be done. A world where people are unfairly and unjustly the targets of bias and the people who exploit that, the people who know they're fucking up but can fall back on the fact that they're black and say that, even though I am doing this shitty thing, you can't do this to me because Black Lives Matter. You don't get the right to do that. You muddle a very complex, very complicated situation that we are all living through when you do that shit. And that burnt me up more than anything else. And I should have said it during the mental health vlog, but I was trying to be vague even then because I was still hurting from this. I'm still hurt that it came to this. But his responses just, I gloves are off now for me because it is disgusting to blame your partner's mental health for your actions and take no accountability. But it's even worse to pull the, well, you called the police on a black man. Like somehow that trumps the fact that you put your hands on them in the first place. And I know that there are a lot of commentary channels that were already dinging you because you were a very volatile person. You did lean too heavily into that prince persona that you crafted online to the point where you felt infallible, that you could do no wrong, that you couldn't be argued against, that you're like the most superior intellect in the room, and you looked like an unhinged maniac. And I don't watch John Swan, but I've seen enough clips of what happened to realize that you, my friend, have anger issues besides pride issues that you really need to get worked on. But you also deflect your act. You let yourself get baited by a creator that has their own issues with bias and racism. And instead of just realizing that this person wasn't worth your time and energy, you copyright struck them. And people don't like when you abuse that system. I'm not a big time YouTuber at all. And I even realized that you shouldn't abuse that report system. It's like the shit that goes on Twitter when people mass report somebody just for the jollies. It is a sick system that really needs an overhaul. But the fact of the matter is, you allowed yourself to get in that situation and then you blame your partner for your actions still. I found it funny that everything you allegedly did was supposed to be Omnia, but then you also try to slander her name, not even directly addressed. And I know some people will go, well, Cal, 10, whatever. He probably didn't want to put too much out there because it's an ongoing court procedure. If you want to play that kind of devil's advocate, fine. I don't blame you. He probably has some fans still. I wouldn't want to admit to that at this point. But the fact of the matter is, he came out gunning for Omnia's character right off the bat with some hopeless peaches drama shit from last year, or even, I mean, it might have even been 2 years ago at this point. And it's like, really? That's how you're going to address these serious allegations that you put your hands on her? You're going to bring out some drawing that she may or may not have done? Because we can play that game too. How do we know that Anya supposedly drawn that? And from what I've been hearing and seeing from the community, she didn't draw that. She just had it. Like, dude, you're being credibly accused of being an abusive, manipulative asshole, and your comeback, your clapback to this, besides the whole calling the cops on a black man, which I already, no, no. Your response is to pull out something from the Hopeless Peaches drama to say your now ex was obsessed over this Hopeless Peaches person. You, sir, are a classic abuser, and you think you are a master level manipulator, and to somebody who has lived with somebody who is just on your level of manipulation, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable behavior, unacceptable response to something this serious. But that is the key personality of somebody who is not only immature, but really thinks that they are the smartest person in the room and is a master level manipulator. And I'm here to tell you that Anya will repair herself from this. I mean, themselves. Damn it. Omnia will repair themselves from this. Omnia is already getting back on their feet. I am going to link their new channels and ways that you can support them through this saga, because it is sad that they lost their channels because Kai pettily deleted it. And I full on believe that he did that, because the way he reacted to that, oh, why would I do that, when you literally got busted going into a group chat under her former name and then bouncing when you realize that, yeah, you're caught. Like the shit you did, including violating the protective order, they don't think that they can be caught out there with their stuff when a person thinks they're a master manipulator, and they think they're above the things that they're told to do. And when the court tells you to leave your partner alone, don't go by the place, don't bother them, you should respect that. And the fact that that wasn't respected and that it was violated enough for you to be arrested again tells me that you have a problem with boundaries. You have a problem with accepting the reality of the situation if you don't want it to be that way. And you have a problem with taking accountability for your own acts. And the fact that you kept putting your acts on your partner is so fucking shameful. But the worst of it for me, and like I said in my mental health vlog on this, is that you played a line that you shouldn't have. You tried to bring your blackness into a space that it did not need to be in, because you were trying to make sympathy where you were not. There was no grace that needed to be afforded to you in this situation. You knew it, but you thought you could play that. And that's the part that hurts the most. That's the part that I feel that other comment creators, especially since a lot of them are younger white kids, can't weigh in, because they don't understand what it's like to navigate this. I get that dealing with law enforcement would cause anybody fear and anxiety, point blank, period. But it is an extra layer for black people. But when you do something wrong, law enforcement is going to get involved. And the fact of the matter is that you think that saying that somehow would exonerate you or make us more sympathetic to you. No, no, not at all. Not on your Nelly, young man. And I feel so bad that Anya had to even put up with your level of arrogance and conceited, especially given that you still come across as blaming them for your actions and not taking any accountability at all for your actions. And I hope that you get help for whatever this current phase of your life is. It is going to lead you down a bad place if you don't get it together. No more reinventing yourself on the internet. I think you really need a bit of a break from this online shit, because it has become your life. You have become a persona that you probably feel that you aren't, or maybe you lean into it because that's the persona you think is the better you, but it is not. It is angry, it is volatile, it is a shield that you don't need. You need help. And you need to stop lashing out and hurting people in anger because you don't know any other way to truly express yourself. It is really shameful the way this story is unfolding, honestly. I can't even say wrapped up, because we don't know how things are going to play out. It is COVID times. So this could be ongoing for months, if not years, before we get resolution. And Omnia has to live with the thought that this person may not stop harassing or bothering them. They already come out the gate with ridiculous allegations that all the drama that they talked about in the past was their doing. And it's like, dude, really? You're gonna make it all somebody else's fault for the things you said? You still said them. Like, I don't understand that whole line that somebody made me do it, therefore it is not my fault. You still did the deed. So even if Omnia was somehow responsible for putting words in your mouth and making you do all those commentary things, you still reap the benefits of that. So I don't feel sorry for you. And it still in no way deflects the fact that you more than likely put your hands on her, them. Damn it. Sorry, Omnia. I really, honestly, at this point, apologize to you. I am not trying to purposely misgender you. My whole thing is the point that I am trying to make is that your partner had no right to put their hands on you, and their ridiculous deflection of why they did it leads me to more than likely believe that everything they've been doing to you for a while now is true. The fact that you legitimately thought that you could get away with this, Kai, is what bothers me. The fact that you, from this story, and I know it's he said, she said, but I do believe it because it establishes the pattern of abuse that so many of us have survived ourselves. Told her family that they identified as they, them, and that they had, you know, relationships with females, which for ultra conservative type families, whether they're conservative Christians, whether they're conservative Muslims, a lot of conservative religious families do not have respect for LGBT lives. So when you go against your partner and tell their family that, and then cause that fracture so that they have nobody they can defend on but you, that establishes that pattern that so many of us have gone through with our own abusers. I remember living in Florida 20 years ago, and I hate making this about me, but I need people to understand why I feel this way. My ex made sure that pretty soon I wasn't near family that I could talk to. I wasn't near friends that I could talk to. Anytime I acted out mentally, especially because I have mental health issues, I don't shy away from talking about the fact that I have been diagnosed with both bipolar and schizophrenia. So I know living with me wasn't easy, but everything became about my problems and everything became insulated with us to where it was I only had him for the longest time. Well, he made it feel like I only had him for the longest time. And that dynamic kept me vulnerable and depressed. And of course, my depression and vulnerability made him irritable and acting out. And it was never him, it was always my fault that he did those things. And I hated that. And I had to go through therapy for years. And this is why I hope one day Omnia hears this. I did have to get help for that because I took on that burden. I blamed myself for his actions. And no, I knew getting dealing with me wasn't easy. Getting along with me when I was manic wasn't easy. But my actions are my actions and his actions are his. And you need to realize that you are not responsible for any of the things that Kai did. You can't make a grown man, because according to him, he's a man, he's a grown ass man, do these things that he willingly did everything he did. And for him to blame you and not take accountability for his own act shows you that he has a lot to learn on how to be a man. And for him to fall back on his blackness and try to use that as, I don't even want to know what his mindset was with that. That was all I needed to know about the situation to feel that I would never trust Kai in this situation ever, because it is the ultimate shady manipulativeness of all of that that it just hurts. So I'm going to put Omnia's channel links, ways you can help them out in the description below, because seriously, y'all, as somebody who's had to pick up the pieces, who finally got my life back together, I'm in a healthy relationship now, I'm taking care of my son. I know that you can come out the other end of this in a better place, but it's hard. She is at the point where she's redoing everything. She is picking up the pieces of her life because her partner completely destroyed her livelihood in a fit of rage because you couldn't have that relationship anymore. And I just hate that for them. I hate that they're going through all of this because their partner is that immature and petty and harmful. And Kai, on the off chance you will listen to this and want to argue your point, save it. I am not your mom. I am not your therapist. I don't have anything to say to you at this point because there is no way to save face from this with the way you came at this. That for me, if I was talking to you in publicist mode, you can't damage control out of this one. You literally put bank receipts as a response to an abuse allegation. You literally justified taking cat food. Your level of petty has hit a low that I don't see anybody coming back from. So your best bet is to get away from the internet, get yourself a regular 9 to 5 one day and reflect. And maybe get some help for the anger, get some help for whatever issues you're carrying, and learn how to take accountability for your act. Because the moment you blame your partner for every single bad act that you do, I know I can't trust you. But I'm going to wrap this commentary up. Thank you once again for listening. Thank you for your constant support. I'll be on later on tonight. I do a live Twitch stream, The Bonnet Chronicles, but that's more political and social leans. So if that's not your cup of tea, don't worry about it. I don't know how many more of these commentary things I'm going to do, because I'm not into YouTube like some people are. I don't give a fuck about like Trisha Paytas and other people like that. I don't, yeah, that shit is messy and nasty. This stuff really pulled me in because I cared about these creators. I honestly was rooting for them. I thought they were both people to watch and enjoy. And now that I know the full extent of the story, I am so hurt and disgusted by Kai's acts, and I am so hurt that Omnia had to go through this because they did not deserve what they went through. And I am hoping that they rebuild, they come back better, stronger, and they realize that no matter how they acted mental health wise, they are not responsible for their partner's bad acts. They are not responsible for their partner's behavior online. And it is not fair for Kai to do that to you. But I'm going to wrap this up. I will see some of y'all tonight. Thank you for tuning in.